You know what, Thomas? I think they've priced this accurately.
Oh, okay.
I think it's an integral part of the business.
Okay.
To get the pricing right.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna be a pun legend.
Yeah. Okay. The RDX.
Yeah.
is a car that they make.
No. I'll tell you more about how to make accurate puns.
Okay.
And I'll exit this conversation once you nail it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a pilot.
That's a Honda. But like, we're getting there. We'll get there.
Okay. You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the Civic Si.
Okay, little joke, but this Integra is mostly a reskinned Civic. But that's okay, because historically, that's what they are. Acura take a Civic and they make it a better car. The problem arises when the packaging is just for show. So, as a test, here's Fiji water. Yum. And then we got Pure Life by the scumbags at Nestle. Now Thomas, a man of taste, a connoisseur, someone who can detect nuances quite well. The question is, can he tell the difference? That's all that really matters.
I don't understand how my...
You don't need to, Thomas. You don't need to. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe and hit the bell. Okay, Acura have done this backwards. I'm sitting in the manual, which is only available in the top trim. So it does mean you also get a limited slip differential, but the point is, if you want all of the sportiness that comes with the Civic Si, you must opt for the top trim Integra. And the good news is, if you do that, the Civic Si already drove great. And this is, for the most part, mechanically identical. So, for your $43,000 Canadian, it inherits a great shifter with short, meaningful throws, and a turbocharged 200 horsepower engine that loves to rev. Now, the 1.5 litre in this is not quick. In fact, if you called it anemic, that wouldn't even be that harsh. And we actually raced this same engine in the Civic Si against the new GR86, and it got pummeled. And this, with all its extra luxuries, is even heavier. But come on, you got it. Yeah, kind of. The short gearing and the satisfying shifts of the shifter and the fact that it has that single mass flywheel from the Civic Si means that you can shift through the rev hang, which there's still a lot of. Too much, in fact. If I rev out even in second gear, clutch in, 6, 5.5, 5, and then you can shift. I mean, you can shift earlier than that, but if you want to be kind to your clutch, you've got a long wait. Also, if I'm gonna be picky, and I'm gonna be picky, the sound of that clutch on a quick shift, banging back up, I mean, it's cheap. 43 grand, that feels and sounds cheap. Also, despite the clutch being light and easy to live with, there's not much physical feel to the biting point. It's not letting you know much. The most it lets you know is this. Thankfully, in terms of the shifting experience, even though we don't get the shift lights like we did in the Canadian Civic Si, it still has a fun rev limiter. There's no economy car feeling when you hit it. It doesn't just go, it does. So, it shares the personality with the Civic Si of absolutely asking you to drive the snot out of it. It wants to be punished. Dirty little bastard.
Well, that made me uncomfortable. Anyway, compared to the SI, this is longer. It's wider. As James mentioned, it's heavier. But from a driving perspective, the most important difference between this and the SI is that you can option the Integra with adaptive dampers. That was a burnout. That has nothing to do with the adaptive dampers, but it could do a burnout. So, I mean, if you can burn out, you burn out. So as I said, this has been optioned with the adaptive dampers, all the way from comfort to sport. In comfort mode, the ride is good. And in sport mode, the ride is good. It's not a huge difference, I'll say that. It's a little bit stiffer in sport, but the point is that this car is very well damped altogether. I think it's a wonderful riding car as a result. And I think it's a bit quieter on the highway. But I have to agree with James. There's definitely a lot of faults in the way that it drives, but it does have a personality that it just kind of lets you just wring the crap out of it, which is lots of fun. Steering is also very good. Not a ton of feedback, but it's well weighted and very accurate. And quick story, when we were down in California filming the GT4 RS, we had a Civic Si press car down there, and we were at Big Willow. I took the Si around Big Willow for a couple laps, and the chassis is fantastic. Assuming they didn't screw it up in this one, this is a really good handling car, and the fact that it has a limited slip differential, which you can only get in the manual, is really important in a little torquey front-wheel drive car like this. I don't think I can impress upon you just how important a limited slip differential is in a torquey front-wheel drive car. It means you can plant your foot around the corner. It means you can do burnouts. It is the cherry on top of a fun little front-wheel drive sports stand. Basically, this car is leaving me quite conflicted because on one hand, it's just a kind of a better Civic Si, which is a great car. But there's also a Civic Si, which is a great car, and it's cheaper. So the differences can't all be in the drive. I mean, I think this looks a bit cooler. Okay.
Integra.
Okay, so the way
Big boots.
Big boots
to
fill. I always thought the Integra was kind of a cool looking little car.
It was, yeah, with the
Right.
coupe, the two-door thing.
Yeah, but the thing is that this to me, from every single angle, just looks like a whatever, like an ILX.
Yeah, and the smaller TLX.
The TLX.
I don't think this is, so this is Jack Sparrow Black.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's majestic black pearl. Which
Oh, I
believe,
see.
Yeah, he had pictures of it on his wall because he loves his black
It
pearl.
wasn't always a ship though, was it? Barbosa had it for a while.
Well, Barbossa's a prick. But yeah, I don't think the black helps it that much because the black A-Spec badge is lost, the black grille is lost.
Well, it's like totally blacked out. Everything is.
Yeah, it's mean. It's mean.
Yeah, is it, or is it probably needing a little bit of dynamic difference in it because it's otherwise a boring looking vehicle?
Well, it's got an embossed Integra there.
Okay, I do like that actually.
Proper JDM.
I do like that. I think that the badge could be chrome though, at least. Like, give me something. This car disappears in shape from many.
Because it's a sleeper.
Is
that
it?
1.5 litre. Yeah, but what it is,
You
compared
tune that thing to the moon.
Okay, so it does have a lot in common with the SI, but what it doesn't have in common is that it's the hatch.
It is the hatch.
So
yes.
they've put on this carbon fibre spoiler here.
It's a legit carbon fiber too. Actually, that's pretty
Mean.
cool.
Yeah.
Mean, yeah. That's big.
It's big.
It's very big.
And it's a big subwoofer from the upgraded ELS Studio, which...
The seats fold flat and it would make a huge space. I will say though that there is quite a large lip to
Quite a
get
large
over.
lip, yeah.
Right? Like if you got a big heavy suitcase, it's not going to be super easy to get in, but at least there's a ton of space.
Do you find that these lights resemble the Genesis Coupe a bit? Like from the back, that's a bit Genesis Coupe.
Yeah. But from the back and down low, what I did notice is that there's like some serious RSX vibes.
I think
It's pretty cool, actually.
But overall it looks a bit gentle. It doesn't look like a crazed car. And
No,
I
the
guess,
wheels aren't cool enough.
And the A-Spec doesn't get that much more aggressive looking. I don't think anything changes, if much at all. But then maybe they're leaving room for the Type S.
And the Civic right now looks so nice.
Yeah, the Civic is handsome, especially in the orange we had.
The Civic is a good looking car, and I think that for this being the premium brand, it maybe should have... Actually, I don't know what they could have done with it, to be fair. Like,
No, the 10 grand more, you'd hope, carries itself on the inside.
But I don't know, but the thing is that when I look at this, it's not tickling me anywhere.
That's good.
I want
It's not a family member at Thanksgiving. Look, let's just look inside. That's where the money is. That's where the money is.
Okay.
Yeah, money.
Yep, money.
the extra stuff you get.
Oh, for the money.
May I introduce you to some red ultra suede sweet seats and interior?
Listen, the seats are very nice. They look a lot better, and compared to the SI, they're a massive step up.
Do you think so?
Yes, visually, in comfort.
They're quite wide, aren't they? There's a lot of...
They're also kind of hard on the butt, I found.
Yeah.
And like, arguably, maybe not quite bolstered enough, because the car does have quite a lot of grip.
It does, yeah.
But no, otherwise they're much nicer to look at, and to like the touch points of them are a lot better than the SI seats.
So I don't want to bring up nations, because we're already divided. But
okay,
as we know, the Canadian Civic Si is already blessed with lots of good things.
We get all the stuff.
So the stuff this gets is a bigger deal for the Americans, like the heated seats, the heated rear seats, the heated steering wheel, digital gauge cluster. Our Civic Si has full digital gauge cluster.
Yeah, we get the whole thing on the SI.
So
this is less attractive to us than it is to our American brethren.
Yeah, as a buying proposition.
Yeah.
I liked the SI's full width.
I think I agree with you.
Vents,
I think that was a little bit more retro looking.
This is quite a cheap replacement.
Yeah, I don't know if I really like that. Yeah, like.
Yeah, for 43 grand.
Yeah.
That's some flex.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have stepped up. You know, I know the Accord and the TLX are different.
Yes.
But that jump with the center console is quite different.
And when you go like this, it feels like a Civic.
Yeah, it's still very Civic.
It's still very Civic in here.
Yeah.
It does have the ELS Studio 3D sound system, which is dope.
Yeah, really
it's
solid.
Really, really good. Otherwise, I don't know. It's cool, but it's mostly a Civic, at least in Canada. It's like very, very similar. You're basically paying for the sound system and the seats. Like if you zoom out, those are the big things.
Pretty much, because you're not getting any power upgrades.
No.
I think if the CVT, just based on our concerns with the manual on this one, if the CVT was a dual clutch transmission, and you could just do a normal A-spec, that's where, because the Civic Si is manual only.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I haven't driven the CVT in this, but I have driven CVTs in Hondas before and was never impressed.
At best, they're fine. They're never sporting.
No, exactly. Other issues that we got to point out: rear seats.
Yeah, I don't even fit.
You don't even fit.
I haven't got the headroom.
It's just.
And I'm only 5'10".
It's just weird.
Our sound man Harrison really doesn't fit.
Really,
at 6'6".
really doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I like this, but I will caveat with, at least in Canada, this interior at least is not enough of a step up from the Civic Si to warrant the cost.
Unless you really prioritize the sound system.
Unless you really prioritize.
And you want the Acura badge, but
yeah,
this is still like the Civic Si was already very good.
No, that means that everything works. Infotainment's great, climate's great, like ergonomically.
The things that are buttons.
It's perfect. Like I have no issues with this ergonomically as a car, but the Civic Si exists. That's the only issue.
So take from that what you will, but they're both great, and potentially more purchasable than things like the Golf R, which is still a year and a half wait and doesn't nail the interior ergonomics the way this does.
No, this is a big step over the current generation of Golfs. Should we do a conclusion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the new Acura Integra is a never so slightly more luxurious Civic Si. In its top trim though, its luxuries still fall short of similarly priced luxury compacts like the Audi A3 or the Mercedes CLA, and its sportiness offers nothing more than a much cheaper Civic Si. And yes, as we said, national product packaging is the enemy here, but if you really are being forced to spend 40 grand on a front-wheel drive Honda product, our money would probably go towards the much quicker and much loved, albeit less nimble and subdued looking, 2-litre turbo, 10-speed Honda Accord. All this to say, with its adaptive dampers, fancy sound system, and fancy badge, the Integra is a top-trim Civic Si, which means it's still good. But that enters it into a spicy price point, where it's more than a little threatened. Thanks for watching.